Hey guys, today we're going to quickly talk about basically part 2 of the worldwide campaign for the Majin Buu saga, and we have Dokkan and his website, Oh My Gotcha, basically giving us full information and leaks on what we should expect for part 2. Now, he did tweet out a tease yesterday about a Vegeta card, but I think we should probably see the Twitter reveal tonight for what LR should be coming out for part 2. So I will definitely try and be up for that. But before we actually dive into the video, I do want to quickly say that this is going to be my first video recording post 100k subs. So I appreciate everybody who played a part in that. I have some things planned, but I don't have it ready just yet because I didn't expect to hit the milestone so quickly. But definitely stay tuned. We'll get to that at a later point in time. But just going over what we have here. So I'm going to go over these two posts, and then we're going to dive into this paste bin, which is basically a English translation of this post because this post was made in French. So here we go. Two subjects right now: the absence of Kid Buu and the starving content of the celebration. So apparently there is not going to be a Kid Buu unit in part 2. These 2 points as well are well-founded and completely understandable. However, it allows to deepen certain points inherent in the game. And then one side thing here is. I saw a question passed, I don't know from whom, too many notifications, on a possible rework of the Majin Vegeta LR. Yes, it is planned. So what this tells me is I assume we're going to be getting a top legendary summon banner in part 2, and if you guys are unaware of what that is, it is basically a legendary summon banner that features 2 summonable LRs. Now, we saw this for the 5-year anniversary with the Broly and Rose unit. We saw this last year where LR Gohan, the Int one, received his super attack animation basically redone and reanimated. Only the 18-key one. And then we also saw, along with the Gohan, we saw the LR Androids release. So I think what they're going to be doing this year is basically this new Vegeta LR, and alongside him, they're going to have the old AGL LR Majin Vegeta featured, and he's going to have his super attack animations reworked. So let's go through this post. I guess we're just going to read through this. Some things, I already read this myself. Some things are a little bit harder to understand just because of the, it was translated via an app, and some things are just naturally going to be off, but for the most part, it actually does make a lot of sense. So here we go. Dokkan battle, Kid Buu versus Buuhan. Yeah, this is like the main thing I really want to center this discussion around. Alright, so Dokkan generally likes to propose characters consistent with the timeline of the story. This is especially visible in the Japanese version, which does not suffer from the global. Yeah, so he's talking about basically how they went from, Super Saiyan 2 Goku transformed into Super Saiyan 3 Goku versus Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta who transforms into Majin Vegeta, being the dual Dokkan Fest for New Year's in 2019 going into 2020. And since that point on, they have been building up chronologically to this celebration because we got those two. Then we started getting, Gotenks and Buu, then we got Ultimate Gohan, now we have Super Vegeta versus Buuhan, and now we're getting the LR of Vegeta, which is supposedly going to be bringing, this partner super mechanic into the game for the first time. So, yeah, in fact, after Ultimate Gohan, we naturally had Vegeta and Buuhan, and then logically, some hoped then for the presence of a Kid Buu in the Legendary Portal of the second part, but this is not the case. And I must admit that the choice to exclude Kid Buu does not seem so bad to me. Okay, so we're going to read basically what he thinks about this, and then we're going to talk about it. I think there are several reasons that justify this choice. First of all, the character suffers too much from the comparison with Buuhan. Too much clinging in Dragon Ball. Releasing Kid Buu 2 weeks after Buuhan would lead to an endless debate, make him less strong than Buuhan, and he could be dead in the game. Otherwise, more powerful than Buuhan, he would restart the thermonuclear war, Kid Buu versus Buuhan. There's another reason as well. In Dokkan, it was necessary to present a character who could highlight the new mechanics introduced in the celebration, the special attack, and that would have been impossible with Kid Buu. He's talking about the partner super mechanic. And then finally, this strategy allows to offer the character the exclusive Dokkan Fest he deserves later on, and we all hope so. So just quickly going over what he means by the special attack here. Basically, there's going to be, based off of what we've seen in terms of the data mine and stuff like that, there's going to be a new mechanic called the partner super attack mechanic, where characters are going to have special animations and effects with their super attacks if you pair them up alongside other special characters. Well, so we'll get more in depth with that later on, because this new LR is going to be pretty much debuting that mechanic in the game, and I believe it was also leaked that the free-to-play Goku that's farmable right now from the story event is going to Dokkan Awaken into a Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and then that Super Saiyan 3 Goku is also going to make use of the partner mechanic with the Spirit Bomb. But, so let's sort of break down what he's talking about, and he says it's not so bad to him. I personally was very shocked when I learned that there was not going to be a Kid Buu in Part 2. To me, they spent 9+ months building up to this, ever since New Year's, pretty much, like we just talked about. And, to not release the main villain of the Buu Saga after you've been building up to the conclusion of the Buu Saga for 9 months, it seems a little bit weird to me. I'm not, like, super depressed about it, but it's just, like, I would have liked the Kid Buu unit here. He does also talk about the fact that he can get a Dokkan Fest later. I do think that's definitely going to be the case. I think an LR Kid Buu is definitely more so a Dokkan Fest exclusive worthy character than just a summonable LR character, just from an regular unfeatured LR. But the one thing I do want to mention is that this celebration specifically was always marketed as being the conclusion to the Majin Buu Saga. So I see a lot of people saying, oh, we can get one for New Year's, or the next Dokkan Fest can be Kid Buu. I don't think so. I think they're just going to completely shift gears after the celebration, and that is why I'm a little bit weirded out by this, because you would think they would end the celebration with Kid Buu. He's basically the culmination of the saga, and that's what the celebration's supposed to be. He talks about reigniting the debate between Buuhan versus Kid Buu. I don't really think that's too much of an issue. I'm gonna have to disagree with that. Like, this is a video game. It's not like, you're talking about who's stronger in the manga versus, who's stronger in the game. I mean, if we have, I can pull up, so many examples. Like, you pull up, Super Saiyan 4 Goku from the 2nd year anniversary. Like, there's literally hundreds of characters. Like, there's free-to-play characters right now that I would argue are stronger than him that are, from Dragon Ball Saga. Like, LR Goku and Arale, you compare them to STR Gogeta from the year 1 anniversary. Obviously they're better than Gogeta. So I don't really like this argument, because when you're talking about power levels in terms of the source material and the original series or the manga series, it just doesn't. It's never going to add up because it's a game. And then the other reason. Yes, this one I do agree with. This one I think has some merit to it. So they wanted to specifically release Vegeta because he is going to be debuting the new mechanic, and that definitely makes a lot of sense to me. So I definitely agree with that. But I think what they could have done is they could have just released Kid Buu with him, right? Because he's fighting Kid Buu in the fight. That's where the card is coming from. Because as we'll see later, it is a Vegeta who has an active skill with Goku from the Kid Buu fight. So I think at the very least they could have at least put Kid Buu as the other featured LR, because remember, this is a double LR banner. Now that would also leave people wondering, okay, where's the Majin Vegeta super attack I guess renewal, I guess as you want to call it. They could have just put him in another banner, they could have just made triple featured LR banner, because if you want to be honest, that AGL Majin Vegeta LR, it's not that good. I would argue that Vegeta is worse than the STR Majin Vegeta. I would argue that. So if they really wanted to, they could have made it a triple featured LR banner and then put him on there along with Kid Buu, along with the new Vegeta, and then had his super attacks get renewed. That would have been perfectly fine. But I do think this point does have merit to it. So that's what I think about this. I'm not super upset that it's not going to be Kid Buu, but it's very strange. I'm not upset about it. It feels weird. It's like concluding the Cell saga, and then you don't release a Cell, or you conclude the Namek saga and you don't release a Frieza. It's just I don't know. You guys let me know down below what you think about that. Okay, so here we go. The Prince to the rescue. If you follow the news on Twitter, you may not have seen what could be the next LR. Undoubtedly aware of the community's expectations of Kid Buu, Dokkan will offer in return a map that illustrates one of the most striking moments of the. I guess this is supposed to be an animation, and this is supposed to be fight. Vegeta confessing his admiration for Goku during the final fight. Yeah, you are number one. Basically, that's what he's aiming at here. I must say that I find this animation particularly interesting. On the one hand, contrary to a lot of cards, it doesn't illustrate a combative feat. In this scene, Vegeta is used as a punching bag to give Goku precious time, but Vegeta's confession, his determination and courage make the moment memorable, yes. So it sounds like from what he's saying here, this is going to be an active skill that is not going to be an attack, but it's going to work similarly to basically how B-Pan's active skill works, how LR Tech Broly's active skill works, the blue Goku and Vegeta from the Tournament of Power. It's going to be a buff of some sort, or maybe even a debuff of some sort. What if it's like an orb changing ability? What if it changes the entire field of orbs to one type of orb, and then this unit ends up being a nuking unit? Like, think about how insane that would be. So at the very least, we know it doesn't sound like an attack. It doesn't sound like an ultimate attack. So, well, I guess we'll see what that is later. On the other hand, it's not a switch card, so it's not an exchange card. But Goku, visually present in the background on the LR Awakening of the card, so talking about the card art, will be part of the game through two mechanics: an active skill, which seems to be a buff. Yeah, we just mentioned that. And of course, the attached special attack, which we talked about up here, which is the partner super attack. To launch this last attack, so the partner super attack, you just have to play Vegeta with a card with Goku in the name from the Buu Saga. To be able to execute a joint attack with both characters, so it also works with the LR Goku and Vegeta from the last part. So basically he's saying this card is going to have a stipulation in the super attack effect, I believe. I'm not 100% certain about how this new mechanics are going to work, if it's going to be in the passive or the super attack effect. Basically, if you have a Goku on rotation, or a character whose name includes Goku. So again, it does work with the Goku and Vegeta from Part 1 because that card does have Goku in the name. And that card is part of the Majin Buu Saga category. This Vegeta will do a special attack. And I assume what the special attack is going to be is it's just going to be Goku taking over and doing an attack or something like that from the Kid Buu fight. And then he says, but what about the content? Which I want to know too. Everyone wants to know. As for the content, I was waiting a bit before deciding. I don't pretend to write that it's a mistake for Bandai/Akatsuki. For that, it would be necessary to know if the celebration will do this job from a revenue point of view. So he's not saying, like, he can't really comment about the revenue aspect. However, from the point of the view of a player and satisfaction, it is frankly not great. Yes, I agree. In fact, I would say it's very bad. I would say it is very bad. For me, there is a number of mistakes here. The first is that they have obviously spent time improving the Global vs. JP collaborative campaign system. Yes, I think people don't understand the difficulty that these companies and game developing companies go through when designing like UI updates or stuff like that. I do understand that takes time, but it can't detract from your content, because that's literally the lifeblood of your game is the content. There's a whole bunch of new features, both in the interface and in the code, to better take into account the participation of players and offer an in-game real-life status. Yeah, so a lot of the behind-the-scenes things seems like they got an upgrade, which I'm perfectly happy about. For me, this was really not the priority. The time spent on it could have been used for the content, and that's a shame. I 100% agree. I think it's important to sporadically update the bells and whistles of things behind the scenes, as well as some of these other UI changes. I think that's important, but I don't think they should be taking priority over the content, especially during a celebration that's literally, I consider this the biggest celebration of the year, because it is a collaboration between both versions, Global and JP. They need to prioritize the content. The other point is communication. Clearly the effort was to put on social media campaigns. Yeah, it was too, they focused too much on it. I probably agree, but I don't know how much effort actually goes into that, because all you do is you take a picture and you say, retweet this for rewards, and that's it, right? I don't know. Finally, and even if I can understand that the surprise effect is an integral part of the Dokkan's communication, it has reached its limits here, especially with the content, or when the content is missing. Another example is the current pandemic, but I don't think this is the central reason. Yeah, a lot of people have been talking about the fact that, oh yeah, the pandemic might have had an impact on the celebration. I definitely think that's not out of the realm of possibility. I know, like, Dragon Ball Legends definitely was impacted by the pandemic a lot, but that's because it takes them a lot more resources and time and just effort to create things in that game, because of how much more graphically intensive it is. It's more modern. Everything it has to deal with has to go through like a million more hoops than Dokkan does. And Dokkan, I'm not saying Dokkan doesn't take any effort to develop or create, but certainly a lot less than Legends. So I would say this game probably was impacted by the pandemic a little bit, but at this point, it's, you know, it's September. We've had time to adjust to it and to work through it, and I know Japan wasn't necessarily impacted as badly as other countries were. Definitely there was impact though, so I don't know if I would buy the argument that, you know, the pandemic is the sole reason why this celebration was so lackluster in terms of the content. And then notably, Part 2 should still bring the Extreme Battle Road. So this is talking about global. I hope that's the case because it's something good to do. But then my question would be, is only global getting this, or is JP getting extra stages, or what's going on? I assume this is only going to be a global thing because JP did get this during the Saiyan Day celebration, which was back in March, and global just straight up didn't get anything. So maybe it's going to be a flip-flop here. Which it's kind of weird because at that point then they should have just released at the same time in Saiyan Day. The awakening of the free-to-play card that will benefit from the new mechanics. Yeah, so he's talking about the cards from the story mode, and a ZLR, which is a Extreme Z Awakening for LR campaign for Satan. Yeah, Mr. Satan, or yeah, Hercule. We should also find a new worldwide campaign with this time one character, Goku or Vegeta, win. So it's talking about basically JP versus global, right? That should be coming in Part 2, which we all expected. The rest is very classic with the continuation of the story event, yep, new stages, and the never-ending story. Oh yeah, so he's talking about New Infinite Dragon Ball history. Huh, okay, interesting. I guess that kind of makes sense because the last one was like Babbidi's Minions or something, and then this one could just continue the Buu Saga. They should also have ZTUR, so this is talking about EZA, but at this stage, I can't confirm anything. So this, right, what they could do with this is they could just release an EZA for the Int Kid Buu. I feel like that's a very strong possibility here, and that would sort of fill the gap of there not being an LR Kid Buu. I definitely think they should have still released an LR Kid Buu, but at the very least, this does sort of like sate our appetite for some sort of Kid Buu present in Part 2. In terms of dates, we should have the portal around September 15th or 16th, and the beginning of the second part from 14th to 15th, and of course, data download by then. So, you know, today or tomorrow we should be getting the Twitter previews, and the next day we'll get the download, and then things are coming pretty soon. So this coming week we'll have everything. You guys can let me know down below what you think about all of this stuff coming out, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. See you all in the next one.